All right, hi again. This is my second ever video in recovery from narcissistic abuse in Nalani Reaches for Love. And my first video was a little rugged, but I hope I got my point across. Going to the gym, so I have my hair up. Anyway, I'm here to talk about recovery from narcissistic abuse. Wow, I feel emotional even just saying that word. So anyway, I wanted to just continue to document what really works. What should I be doing to recover? And my hope is that documenting it will help myself and it will help you because there are a lot of issues. So one thing I went back and did is I made a little bit more of a in-depth thought and list of issues. So attachment therapy, attachment trauma, attachment work is an issue. Codependency, this kind of catch all phrase for a self that has been dismantled, a self that lacks the knowledge that taking care of yourself is a divine right. It's a human right. One of the human rights of recovery is self care and self love. So, anyway, codependency. So, attachment, codependency, um, so these are traumas. Also, I found that something led me to reading about masochistic personality disorder, and that made a lot of sense. And I got a lot of information and help from reading about that because the narcissist can be very sadistic and cruel and cold, sometimes intentionally. That's their way of operating, and sometimes it's just the program. It's just that selfish me, and not having that ability to empathize. So I call it MPD, masochistic personality disorder, because you're dealing with a sadist. So the flip side to the sadist is the masochist, and being attracted to people and places that are cruel, or just loving something that doesn't love you back, basically. Also, isolation, which may fall under codependency. Shame. Oh, shame. Shame that doesn't belong to me. Shame that doesn't belong to you. That was projected onto you by the narcissist. Um, Issues, low self esteem, no self esteem. So, a lot of the inner demons of the narcissist that they can't face get projected, I found, onto myself. So, shame is another issue. Also, one of the things I found in looking at a lot of videos here on YouTube is, there's some YouTubers that I really resonate with, and I wrote down Ross Rosenberg, really great stuff on codependency work, Spartan Life Coach, and Lisa Romano, and there are others, but those three I think have a lot of information towards the healing process. There's some that really express the difficult feelings and the hurt and the pain, and I'm drawn into um, watching those and learning about those and identifying because I'm like, wow, I know that kind of hurt. I know that kind of sorrow and grief from just behavior that is so mind blowing. And I'm hoping to share my story, which therapists often just look at me like, really? I'm like, yes, these things happened and continue to happen when I uh, engage with contact with the narcissist, which at this point, I'm, I'm for my own sanity, I'm not going to do that. So there are also what I'm calling like adult child issues. Um, and that may fall under the kind of codependency uh, phrase, a codependency term. Abandonment issues, and addiction issues, addiction be it to food or workaholism or kind of the common addictions of drinking too much or drugs, sex, gambling, all those addictions. So That's another issue, and also dissociation. I have my list here. Um, and there's one thing I've found that I haven't found a name for it, but they kind of like thinking disorders, I call them, where you're conditioned, or I was conditioned, like anytime I would try to connect. There's an instance where I tried to connect with the narcissist, and this was after a period of separating. It was after a period of going through some therapy, and the therapist saying, you need to not connect with this person. So I went through this period of not connecting, and I started to heal. I started to feel better about myself. My heart started to open. I started being able to connect more with others. So I went back into the narcissistic family situation, and we all went out to, I think it was lunch or brunch or something, and the narcissist sat down next to this waiting area. I sat down next to them, and I mean, my heart was just open, and I was just unguarded, and I just made eye contact, and I was just sitting, and then they proceeded to pick apart like my skin. Oh wow, you're breaking out, and there were some other insults and things that were said to my face, and I just remember being shocked and stunned, and then later I realized what happened. I had an open heart, and I was getting closer to the person in that moment. I was engaged and warm and loving, and that was a trigger. And while it made me angry, at first I was just like, what the hell? I'm sitting here, we're talking, and it's nice, and then you attack me? So it made me sad, but I understood later on that I hit a nerve when I tried to engage in a warm, direct, close, loving way. That was a trigger for them. So those are some of the things that I found that are issues for recovering. So attachment, codependency, trauma itself, which growing up with a narc, it's traumatizing. Not having a bond, having to um, what's the word? Sever this intuitive drive to connect and to love, because we all have love. Well, we all need love, want love, and I'll say for myself, I have love to give, and I had so much love to give as a kid, but not getting that love returned, or having that love dismantled, if you will, or having that love fall on deaf ears, or having that love not be returned, or having that love stolen, like not being able to get anything reciprocated. Um, it was traumatizing. Um, so I'm just looking at some other notes I have here, which I don't know. I don't know if I need to use my notes, but yeah. So the purpose again of my videos are to get clarity on what do you have to do to heal. So right now I'm just exploring the issues. These are the issues that I'm finding, and you may have your own, but I think for me the process right now is getting clear, like, what am I dealing with? Like, what is going on? I think that's probably the ultimate question. Although I've been in therapy a lot, I think the question I've been always trying to answer is, why do I feel this way? Why am I thinking this way? Why are things not working in my life despite having the talent, the ability, the discipline? There was also the flip side of the saboteur at work. So self-sabotage, misery addiction. Wow, there are a lot of things that to be aware of. And some of these things will overlap. But I'm thinking that by getting clear about the issues, I can next begin to prioritize the order of working on them. And with that, I will close out my video. And if I've said anything useful, please subscribe to Nalani Reaches for Love and leave your comments. Thank you.